Hope you enjoyed your little break. You had your time to refreshen up, but we are going to be returning with another match. You know, we're having a lot of them today. I think it's quite usual, and this is no longer Sovereign. He used to sit here. Now he's gone. He has been skinned and replaced by Shiva. Is that right?
Yes, totally.
Yes,
yeah.
that is exactly what
I
was
also
happening.
learned how to grow brown hair instead of ginger hair.
Exactly.
That's how. That was a crazy switch. Damn.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we are going into another match, and we're bringing all this energy because we have someone we have a bit of experience with.
We do. I mean, we've got two teams that we're quite experienced
True.
with. Control Esports and PUX Esports.
Yes.
Both of these teams are really, really strong, and something that both Papa and I are familiar with. We've casted PUX. Not only have you casted them previously today,
Yes.
but we've both casted them in previous events. So we're quite fond of this team. They are the CreeperCon Harbor team, and honestly, I'm such a big fan of this roster. I'm really, really happy that they're at this event, and they've pulled up some really great matches. Granted, maybe closer than I would have expected. Maybe not in the form that I would have expected compared to what we've seen them in the past. Especially considering that they are the exact same roster, but against Control Esports, I don't know how it's going to be compared because Control look unstoppable in this tournament right now.
Yes, Control are a monster. They always have been. Okay, the previous line, there's been a different story. But in general, they have the consistency. They have extremely strong players. Everyone most probably knows Willie G. You have Lendoth as well, who's quite the face in the community. In general, they are an insane roster. And PUX, they've had themselves a warm-up match. They were the only team that on broadcast, I believe, had overtime. Or, well, a lot of the matches today were really cut and dry. Close.
Sadly so. Yeah.
Sadly so. But this is going to be a matchup that we hope is going to get close, because again, we do share that Harbor love. We do share that PUX is like a close team.
They are close to our hearts, yeah.
But Control undoubtedly dominant.
Yeah, for sure the favorites, and I think the question is on whether or not we'll see through the vetoes if there is going to be a map that enables CreeperCon here on that harbor. That's the question that I have going on here. Quite a few bans, notably, and we got Split coming in here. No bind! No bind!
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed when I saw bind halfway through pop up. I was hoping he would have only bind today.
It's not been a good time for me, guys. I've only had 2 games. I've had both of my casts recently be bind, and they've both been stomped. I need something different. So I'm scared of this being a stomp. I don't want it to be a stomp. I really hope it's close. Both teams are really good. They have great individual players who are at the top of their areas in this tier. Although Control are obviously part of the Willie G Clique, and the Willie G Clique are notorious to be the Palace of EPIC, the best Valorant group that have ever appeared. There's never been a better group, honestly. Maybe aside from Summon FC, but they're a bit old, so you know the old gens are out of the picture now. They're doing tier 1 stuff now, but. With that being said, Split coming in definitely is a map that I see potential for PUX on that harbor.
They will.
They will.
I guarantee it, because this is the map they played. This is the map they played and won on in the overtime. First half, dominant. They were really solid. Maybe that second one we're just going to leave in the past, in the dark void that is time. But in general, they did quite well on Split. They managed to bring it back as well. So not only did they have a dominant beginning, but a comeback both in one. So honestly, a miracle that they pulled off. But in general, it was Harbor. We saw all sorts of things. We saw Teo as well. Deadlock.
Really? Yes. Wow. Damn. Okay.
They had there was no double duelist. They were going everything all at once.
Wow. Okay. Well, that makes me really excited for this, because we know we love PUX for how creative their compositions are, for how different the way that they play. I really love watching players like CreeperCon, and especially Diver, who's always been their star duelist player. Always really, really solid on the board. He's never really had a disappointing series from when I've watched him. But Control on the opposite side, it's difficult to really factor how strong this team is in comparison to PUX. I mean, they're obviously great. They've gone undefeated so far in group stage. And from what I know, their map differentials is also crazy high. So without further ado, let's look into our agent select here with our teams coming into this. PUX, of course, they love going with their traditional things. Straight off the bat, just letting you know right now, at the very top, the names are the wrong way around. PUX and Control are the opposite way. So on the right, you've got PUX, you've got CreeperCon, Aso, Doka, Foob, and Diver. The same roster that we saw all those times ago. It's great to see them back here. CreeperCon locking in that iconic harbor. Also, it's not Haven, it's Split. Sorry, we're having a few issues with sorting that up, but that's just noted right now. It is not Haven, it is on Split. Control against PUX, and I'll swap correctly, which is great. On these duelists here, Diver on this raise, it's a very staple duelist to be on this Split map, but do you feel like the Yoru was a missed opportunity here for Diver?
No, I don't think so. I think it's mostly coming from a place of comfort as well, because we have seen Diver on the Rage previously. Again, beginning for the player was a bit rough, and utility-wise, Diver was, I'm sad to say, inconsistent. But towards the end, they picked up the pace.
Yeah,
they started wreaking havoc. Mechanically, 100%, and Aso on that Teo, which was phenomenal. I'm looking forward towards Aso again, because the shutdown utility and how well he uses that agent is outstanding. Again, perfect moments on gathering intel on where the push is going to be coming on when he was on the defensive side, and perfect moment to send out those missiles to push the enemy team back so the rest of his team can come in to support him. Really good on the Teo, and the Deadlock as well. Again, PUX, as chaotic of a roster and agent pool that they have, it works in really good synergy, surprisingly good synergy in my opinion, and I'm hoping it's going to be enough to take down Control.
I mean, the solo harbor was still something I wasn't thinking about, even though I knew partly of their composition, right? Yeah. I had a general vision, maybe Teo, maybe the Deadlock. Wait, we're going to be running like that many different agents without a secondary controller on the harbor? In this meta? In this economy?
In this economy.
Solo harbor in this economy right is now. Crazy. Reworked harbor as well. We have to add to that as well. Is insane. Unfortunately, we're going to have to delay things a little bit because one of our players have had a crash, and that means we can't fully get into the map just yet. However, compositions, I believe, are planned to still stay the same as per rules are. But with that crash coming in, I believe, on the side of Control, we're going to have to wait just a little bit going into that. But that comp is insanity,
it is.
Puffo. What were the setups that you saw going into it? What were the particular ideas that PUX were bringing out with this comp?
They play... Okay, on the attacking side, what they love doing is taking space, then they lock the enemies forcibly outside. So they use that Deadlock, Mesh Barrier, and they just, let's say on tower.
Yeah.
They push in through mid, they find the ground, they get the kills, they play aggressive. Once they have tower, they use the Mesh Barrier on that top mid to deny the entry, so then they force the enemies to play from either two directions, either the backside where they come in from the CT spawn, or they go in through garage. And they can just expect that and play around with the Teo, where they deny, they delay, and of course the Harbor has been such a phenomenal agent to watch because of the Cove. We have seen the Cove defuse. He just sits inside, nice and plain, and then whenever wants to enter, whenever he can kind of get call-outs either from teammates or sound cues alone, he plays around that Cove like it's a ring around the rosy. He basically, once the enemy steps in, Creeper steps out.
As you would expect from someone like him. I mean, we have to add some extra, like, on lore in case this is the first time you're watching the stream. PUX, of course, have their harbor specialist in Creepercon, and Creepercon has been probably one of the best professional-level harbors in the Tier 2 to Tier 3 bordering scene. He is very, very distinct in his style, almost always running that harbor. I think only really playing that as an exception on maps that absolutely cannot at all have harbor being played. But you would actually be surprised at how few maps that is the case. We're almost always seeing Creepercon on that harbor, and it's so unique where it really has taken really high-level teams out of place, and it's led to some crazy strong runs. I mean, the ones that we're the most familiar with is their run at VEC before that fully collapsed and things went very wrong on that event. However, during the initial tournament at VEC Prophecies 1, PUX were one of the big driving forces in that tournament, and it was partly because of how obscene the composition of PUX were running and how different it was. And I think we were seeing things like the Harbor on Ascent, Harbor Viper on Ascent, or something like that with Breach. It was absolute insanity from this team, and it's not going to be an exception here. We were saying the solo harbor with Teo, Deadlock, Chamber, and Raze. It's so interesting, and I'm always eager to watch it. I know you've seen it before, but I want to see it in action again. For Control Esports, you've got the classic, iconic roster here. This is a horrifying team to be facing in this tournament. You've got multiple multi-time champions in Nagipu, Corsa, and Rudy. You've got Flank and Drog, who Drog in particular, I know, is a very noteworthy player who's done fantastic individually. For Control in previous events, now coming in for this far stronger roster now, with some different switches coming compared to last event. And this time, they're really looking for the crown. They have looked unstoppable in this tournament. And I'm
hoping PUX's abysmal roster is going to be able to kind of throw them off, or even up the odds and how unusual it is, because Control, when they're going in a scrim, I'm imagining they're scrimming teams that go in similar in Tier 1 inspired compositions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of how these teams get used to each other. But PUX who the hell
are these guys?
Who the hell are these guys? What are they bringing along? That's what makes this so interesting. And I'll be honest, I bet to you, the maps that you can't play Harbor on, Creeper still wants to do it, but it's his team who drags him back onto a different agent.
Yeah, that drive on the Harbor must sting. And honestly, we've seen a couple moments where PUX don't run the Harbor on certain maps, and it has looked off for CreeperCon, where he just can't get his comfort point. He's just born to be this Harbor specialist. And I love that PUX have such an identity with this. They are one of my favorite teams in the tournament, but we have to watch it against one of the strongest teams in this event. Yes. One of the ones 100% favored to win it all, alongside some other terrifying teams like Coalesce, like Snoggers, and a couple others as well that are really noteworthy to be scared of in this tournament. Those three, instantly off the top of my head, are huge, huge favorites. Having some of the greatest players in EPIC history, like Nakipu, Corsa especially. I feel like whenever Corsa is in an EPIC tournament, he's always a big, big candidate for the strongest player in the entire event. Also having Rudy in, who, mind you, is a genius mind in Valorant and has been an assistant coach for a tier 1 organization, 100 Thieves. That should tell you how big this roster is coming into EPIC now. And this is the challenge that PUX have to face. And already straight off the bat, this rapid attack is looking oppressive.
This is the classic I was talking about. Just set yourself up aggressively towards tower, then push it all down. Make sure that anyone on site gets eliminated, but you are working against Control. Not the same matchup as earlier, but even then, PUX can still bite back. 2 for 2, even eye for an eye. Although Rudy finds himself on tower, doesn't seem like the Deadlock put down that mesh barrier because she was eliminated. In the meanwhile, though, there's a bit of ground here. We get the post plant running. Now it's down to Foob, getting heavily damaged. Away lane coming from the back line. Snarky there with a flash to support them as well. And the combination from Control here extremely deadly. Again, you try to go for the swing, you're going to get blinded.
Diver!
Try to put yourself in a decent spot. It's Diver to catch you off guard.
Diver!
Another, but it seems like PUX might have this round for them. 2v1, low HP.
Easy does it. You're against Nakipu, who's a big threat, but he will get snuffed out quickly here by CreeperCon. I think we have to note that Fubs was very, very low there. One tap on the Ghost and a repeat out into Pillar could have reset the fight and given Nakipu a clean isolation there. But it's good positioning from CreeperCon to play with his teammate quickly and have that efficient double swing there. A good opening round for PUX. I have to note that Control's goal in this is isolating singularities. When you're PUX on a comp like this, you are going heavily for oppressive utility control to make your journey to the site easier. If you find a way to get isolated and take a 1v1, Control want that. They want you to run into them so you can take those fights. And PUX, although are no slouches on these 1v1s, Control are absolutely terrifying individually, and that's something that I think PUX are very much considering in, right? We already saw an example of that in the pistol with Control being able to get some good isolations, but this time things are changing on this eco round as Control looking to take a really early space up from mid, but not really able to find that right skirmish that they're looking for. On top of that, the intentions of Nakipu on that Waylay was confirmed by CreeperCon, and it looks like it might go into a B split.
Well, they're just going to back up. Okay, they're still holding nicely down mid.
Drog
finding a good shot onto Diver, who's been quite a prodigy in the previous round. Now won't be able to carry on that fruition into the next one. PUX have now lost their raids as well, so that explosiveness that we saw earlier might not be in play here, at least not this time around. Still a lot of presence around mid, but it doesn't come through. They both get away with the get out of jail free card. Rudy can now set up. Elsewhere we go. Get a bit of a kill here. Pooh finds one Foob as well, but it's a bit of uncertainty where PUX want to push next.
Good pick on Nakipu to cash out those numbers. One by one, PUX are trailing down, and Control really love this. They want to try and abuse those numbers. Make some fearful isolation. Still some scary weapons on these hands, and Nakipu had one in the Sheriff, but that's taken out of the picture now. As you've got this Cove being placed up here from CreeperCon, and it seems like B is going to be the final target, and Control will start gathering back around. Corsa from this tower stairs section with a frenzy. Maybe expect a bit of a greed pick to lower the numbers, but I think the PUX want that. I think they know with these superior sightlines on the plant is going to be a lot better for them. CreeperCon's plant will be confirmed. The high tide will conceal intentions and repositions. His position's good, but he's very short on utility. Rudy will pop his final smoke in June. He's going to be pulling the Shadow Step. Aso from Hell will get 2, and it's quick and clean here for PUX, but it's led to a one-on-one where Corsa, backfired by his own teammates one way, will give Foobs that second round, but that was frighteningly close for PUX.
It was, but considering the beginning, they still handled it quite well. Although Control, we're not on good guns. they were looking real rough. They were basically down to bare bones and pistols. And now PUX, even though that was a close round and it was round for them, the economy's still going to be kind of affected by it, right? Not everyone can buy themselves a Phantom of Vandal, which is going to be affected, but going to have to see how they carry on through it. Although once more, they love their tower, they get control of it, they push down onto site. It's a rinse and repeat for the past 2 rounds. Maybe this time you could try and scout out how A could go.
Control have made these last 2 rounds close in spite of the inferior weapon ring. Now, PUX have to answer the call against that. Ooh. And Nakipu quickly will remind Fu of who he's facing. There's another skirmish out from mid. Diver, clean space claimed up through here, and that Kobe will also conceal a little bit more of his position and be able to take a little bit of extra space, but it's again Nakipu, surgical onto CreeperCon, and that's a big member out of the picture. You have to remember, this is solo harbor on this controller. Now, PUX have to completely shift the way they're playing this.
This is a Judge looking down into a desperate attempt. They're really going to come on through. Ooh. It finds a bit of damage, but no kill to be given. Diver going deep, finding Drog, but now they're going to back off. Right back to mid, expecting a flank. Narkipu here seems to be in their mindset. Try to block him out. He's going to get sent. The grab net does not find it. Narki's still going to keep himself close, slow them down, go for the sweep, find two, and an ace for Narki. They lined themselves up in a Hall of Death. And Narki sweep them up. The first round for Control in dominant fashion by 1 player.
Nakipu just collapsed on Doka by accident. He didn't even mean to kill him. If we had a replay on that, we would have seen the entire thing. That was insane. The movement when he tried to strafe back into the corner so he wouldn't get overwhelmed by the crossfire. He ended up getting 2 bullets pushed through Aso into Doka and then finishes off Diver cleanly. That was you could say luck of the draw, but I think Nakipu was always in firm control of that angle. Yeah. And I think regardless of the outcome, whether or not he would have died, Control would have had his back. And so it's 2-1 for PUX. Oh. Now this is where the money matters, and I think this is where they have to be a bit fearful now with Nakipu being able to gain up so many orbs. He's got the convergent paths in his arsenal.
For a moment he was aiming it towards Garage. Could have been dangerous, but now
he's the scan on Rudy!
Ooh, this is going to be bad. He's setting himself up to a really good spot, but we have seen PUX. They like going for retreats. They're not fully certain they want to push this through. They do have that showstop now on Diver, which is going to reserve it for the moment being. Again, in the previous map we saw PUX. The usage of that utility wasn't the cleanest, but now that they're warmed up, I'm imagining it's going to be better.
Look at how quick Control shifted to rotate to go through B. They almost kind of tried to preemptively guess that PUX would go for a hard rush.
But they're doing it slow.
Yeah, they've backed away now. With that convergent pass being thrown out from Nakipu, it's changed the pacing a lot here. Controlling the tempo in the hands of Control. Ironically.
Ironically so. There's going to be the smokes. Cove set down. Also make sure the bullets can't come through. Nice little shield, but they pass on through. Show themselves to Drogstar. There's going to be the showstopper, but will not find anything just yet. Sent and connects onto Rudy late. Flank prior, but it is Control still able to maintain this pressure, turn it back against PUX, and find the skill in their favor. Now 3 players, they have it all under control, but there's one mistake. A has been left open, and the spike is heading towards it.
Nakipu is the boogeyman here for PUX. They see his face, and they are out of there, going for a preemptive play, scanned by the cam, and so they're going to be confirming where that spike plant is, and maybe in that, we'll confirm the positions that they're going for. They're already running up here from main, and Doga's been revealed so many times. Corsa's so quick on here, but he's naded. Nakipu's fallen! This might be the turning point here for PUX.
Have to bait it out. Play the game of minds. Drogstar is 50 through. It doesn't seem like much of a move is made, but 2v1 and just outnumbered. Aso finds them both. Clean fashion, and PUX 3rd round on the board.
That pick from Aso as well has also confirmed that the Armageddon in his possession for the next round as well. Ooh. Not only is that convergent paths taken away, it was tempo setting, but Control weren't really able to fully make impact out of it. They didn't claim any quick space deep into opposite sides of the map after the slowdown. They didn't do anything to fully compromise for that, and that gave PUX a free rotation to cleanly take that away. And now it's up to Control to read on whether or not they're going to play that again. They put the spike down on A for PUX, but it looks like they're going to be taking it slow up on A to maybe fix some tempo, or maybe even play for an A split.
PUX are great at wasting utility from Control. We've seen this, right? They bait out, they make a couple of sounds. Here, Control then expand their utility, but only for it to be nothing. Again, these rotations from PUX have been really solid, but as for now, it's going to be the flank from Nakipu here that might seem dangerous. Going really quick.
Spotted him.
Yep, but he's going to be returning right back onto it. There's that utility from the Deadlock coming in quite useful. Foob going back to that rendezvous, but everything, again, PUX, aggressive beginning, but now with much of an intention to it, besides wasting utility from Control.
I love investment for information here for Control. They've already had to re-clear Nakipu, and although he's been checked by the scan, seen to have run back. Nakipu's gone back to the opposite side, but Diver's spotted him. Oh. And despite the slow being thrown, he will get taken out. Aso on the trade though. Gives a lot of space here for PUX, but they're soon going to be able to scout out Drog. Unless he sneaks in just at the right time. He was spotted from heaven, and he's been taken away through the spam from Doka, and now Flank is in big trouble. Armageddon thrown out. He's a sitting duck. Rudy will get his one, but the rest of Control now left up to Corsa.
There's only so much a single player can do. Corsa on the back lines. True, you would want him in a 1v3, but again, low HP for the Teo, so it is certainly possible. You have to play the game of time, though. Going against it, it's a virtue you don't want to mess around with. Being baited, information is there. All that PUX needs to do right now is just play it safe. Harbor walls are sent on down, so you can't have any vision as well. But a free passage maybe. High tide now out. Aso holding a steady position on tower.
Aso's incredibly low. It's a setup angle for the cross.
It is, but Corsa's now looking towards him. He spots the hat, he's stunned, and Aso just able to catch him off guard, but Corsa almost shot him out there.
It's a well-placed post-bomb protocol being placed there from PUX. They've got Doka putting that trip on to counteract any swing and enabling any reswing from either side. It's a really good last-minute double peek here from PUX. I love the synergy with this team.
Telling you, it's surprisingly good for how all around the board the picks are. It still catches me off guard. And even though I'm seeing it for the second time here, again, we also have to give credit to players like Aso. Really good, even in the previous matchup. Extremely consistent on the tail, be it through utility or kills.
Next round to come in. PUX really dialed in for this one. We were really fearful about their form in this when they were up against Sensational, a team that we would argue to be a lot lower level to a team like Control. But this time on Split, PUX look much better. Be it through adjustment or be it through warming up individually, they really are dialed in, and they're really giving Control a bit of a run for their money so far.
Again, similar as always. PUX not really changing anything in their strategy. It's not broken, don't fix it one way.
It's
not
well
necessarily, but it is a pixel here that Foop finds himself heavily damaged off of. Will have to step back, keep himself alive, and hold the position of holding their flanks. The rest of PUX, though, in the meanwhile,
Flank! Flank is cooked! Oh,
Diver with that paint shell finding Flank. The rest of Control, though, worse on guns, but still trying to make it work.
What a fantastic read from PUX. They almost just soul red Flank there. And although they may have invested quite a bit of util, that's a man down and resources thinned for Control. Corsa now has to get his one here, maybe even two, to make this even again. But he's got his neural theft. He doesn't want to take this and die. He needs to get one and leave, otherwise it's going to be a big problem. But he's got a Bucky. It's one and done. He's got no choice but to commit, and he falls. Despite getting one, it's still PUX with a number up.
Enough distraction.
Drog? This is scary.
He has the Sheriff, though.
He got heard.
I don't think it matters. He's going to get sprayed on down. The last one teleporting mid-action into his own smoke, but Doka right on his 6, and this is a round done and dusted once more. Control can't find a grasp within this matchup.
I honestly think PUX are playing excellently in terms of their synergies here. Nakipu using the high speed. Hey, that's some negative 200 creds, bro. You could have saved that for something, dog. Honestly. But regardless of that, PUX, I think, not only are you synergistically making a great read onto flank, just expecting somebody to be that and using a good... Granted, it's a lot of utility burnt, but as long as there's value, PUX find ways to really eke out that value, even if it's a heavy investment on just one player. And they're going to be able to also get some great re-swings into it. Control may have not had the best weaponry in this round, but I think regardless of it, being able to thin down numbers through just that well-synergized utility is exactly what PUX are about.
Let's see if they can keep it going. Right now, their streak has been quite solid. Again, 5-1 4-round difference. Control, whatever way they're going to find to break through this, they're going to need to do so soonly, as a quarter or half of the half is already through. Drog being tempted to peek here, but again, the expectancy for PUX, they've been reading really well into the aggression that Control have been putting up to them. As you earlier said, also the paint shells were a perfect read. That's just something that PUX are prominent at.
Diver's found a bit of a gap in this smoke being placed here. And I think he's really hoping that a little bit of aggro comes out from Control. This is aggressive ultimate usage here. Annihilation instantly thrown out and wasted here. This time the read falling back. Flank making a good adaptation to this play. But Diver, clean on this off angle, will catch out Drog, and Flank now has no choice but to try and exploit it. But he's messed up. He's had his barrel peek out, and he's quickly taken care of by Diver.
Diver falls. Or rather, no, Diver, he's ascending. Anything but falling.
He's the one that makes them fall.
Amen. Control now, 2 players down. Spread again. Not really much that they can do. They can expect the carriage to push to come through, but they don't have the utility to back it up. There's going to be the Armageddon. Corsa finds 2 through the smoke. A third one as well on its head, and a sudden. And where has this come out of? Rudy to back him up. And all of a sudden, PUX have lost everything they've been working hard to get. Doka, last one, swapping positions with the Waylay right through the smoke. Narkipu has no clue about it, but the rope gives it away. And Rudy with a finishing touch as it's 2 players that get the ace.
Great spam from Corsa. This is why you fear Control. This is why you always fear them no matter what. We've given PUX their praise, and you may see it as bias. I see it as a little bit of sugarcoating before Control really activate here. Because first off, 5 ultimates on this hand for Control. You've got Narkipu on this Divergent Pass. You've got all 5 ultimates available overall, but this ult particularly is going to be really, really potent if they choose to aggress through this. But I think Control are making a slight off-read with their stack. They're going with a 3-2 split. They're not having flank station heavy through vents. They're expecting a mid to A split coming in from Control, but that is a slight misread coming in, as the Viper's Pit has been invested to claim full space of mid, and that's a big asset taken away. Drog needs to stay alive here.
PUX are going to look to challenge this in full, but Drog has the judge. You are walking into inevitable death. A second one falls, third one good for it, and Drog is just walking away with bloody murder. There's the classic to find yet one more, and the Phantom just spraying and hopes to find that 5th.
Give it to him, Doka.
Right around it. Come on, you have to do it. Oh, even then you don't need to show your face. Drog has you locked and loaded.
Control, they're donating aces to each other at this point. First Corsa, now Drog. Who's next?
Unbelievable, but Control, even though they were starting to fall back a bit, we're climbing right back up.
Listen, I think this was a macro mistake here from PUX. I think maybe they were predicting that Control were going to assume they would dismiss the Viper's Pit, but you need to still keep one in mind. You're not going to have your Viper fully ignore the pit. I do think it was a macro mistake from PUX. They tried to play overconfidently, maybe try and play numbers and abuse quick enough, but they weren't really able to spot Drog in time before that just became too much of a problem. And so things have backfired here. Still may Control the choice of area here for PUX to prioritize taking, but that Convergent Pass from Narkipu has been taken out as invested to claim space, and this is something that Creepicon's very aware of, and he is backing away here to see if he can catch him lurking through. With no mid presence confirmed here from Control, Narkipu doesn't really have to commit, and he's going to actually be backing away. They have a theory that they're going to be doing this. It's good calling from Rudy.
Good calling, but even though Control are going to have to set up for a real good retake because Narki is right now alone. He just go peeking, hoping he doesn't get spotted. Gets the stun, slows them down. This is good. Gives Control time to rotate as well. The smoke there in an instant, and it's going to be the drone to follow along, but it's going to be the showstopper that shows himself and takes himself out. A dead man switch. Narkipu falls. Ground is gained, but Control still hold an even man count, and Rudy's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He drops on down with a flash as well, but Asso still takes him out. Finds him. We have the tour de force as well on PUX that is being used instead of having to buy the gun. Bit of a cheat sheet for the eco. Although 3 players on Control, they need to get it.
4 versus 3 here. PUX, great position from Foobs. Takes down flank when he least expect it. Corsa from Spawn needs to take a 1v1, but Doka playing this wise, takes some span damage and backs away with his team. Right, it's Salvas as well. Great Doka takes care of Drog, and it's Corsa now left alone again in a 1v3. Doka is quite low, but PUX are so disciplined. They know how to play this together, and it's perfection with this post plant. Look at this. You've got the trap essentially enabling ASO for a repeat, and you have a double swing from the opposite side, but it's backfired slightly. Corsa with a wide angle, time running down. PUX are stalling the clock well. Corsa may be damaged, soon bruised, get some picks down, but there's not a lot of time left on the spike, and ASO will finish the job, get his orb, and fall to the spike.
Fall to the spike, 3-6. PUX have a guaranteed split within this first half. Economy in the previous round was affected, to say the very least, and even still now is. I don't think Doka is going to be comfortable. No, he gets the buy. There we go. Everything should be good and go. Maybe shields aren't going to be full. Maybe they will. Honestly, I can't see. The money constantly keeps on changing. However, PUX have been looking solid. I don't think it's fair to say anything else surprisingly solid, because again, it is Control.
It's good adaptation and really good quick thinking from Diver in particular. That spot that was there from Narkipu was easily able to be escaped out on with the light speed. He could get his one, get out and avoid the spam and use the cove against them. But really quick thinking from Diver. Even if he takes himself out, it doesn't mean much. As the next one comes in, Creepicon is just audacious. He is a rampager onto Narkipu, but he's quickly traded by Rudy off the assist. and now it's back to reset even grounds here, 4-on-4.
There we go. PUX still leaving the chamber all the way back towards that garage in case all goes wrong, so they can go for a nice rotate, overtake mid, and push themselves once more towards this B side. And Foob is just making sure it's all right, it's all set nice, but the neural theft is going to give away his position. The entirety of PUX's esport push will be revealed, but I don't think Control Esport are going to be there in time to stop it. Otherwise, we do have Rudy, who's made it in time to cut it in half, but Diver there for the refrag. Flank finds a 2-for-1 deal. Now it's PUX Esports with their final 2. They don't really have any ultimates, nothing major to back them up, so it's going to be down to Guns alone. The plant needs to be set on down. You have 40 seconds. There is time to work with the stun from the wall. But an unsuccessful shot from Corsa. Diver responds in good. It could be bright. Plant going down, and they're not just spotted. You're looking towards the wrong direction. Flank is below and able to finish you both off.
It's a good take from Control. PUX really did try. Diver was out here looking like he was on a Zune video. He was bee-hopping everywhere. Still takes down Corsa. A player like him on like that is just so impressive to watch. But unfortunately for PUX, it doesn't work out for the rest. A good attempt nonetheless, but Control are great for a reason. Having good aggression and great pressure being applied. That the Tiger coming in here from flank to add extra stress. Corsa being able to run on that flank to add extra damage, even if he falls. It doesn't matter because the rest of Control can play together.
Insanity. Insanity some of these rounds have been.
That kill from Diver was mental.
How?
He's literally just jumping around like a maniac. Like he's literally trying to find a surf slide. He's just jumping everywhere. And Corsa gets a clean peek on him and just whiffs everything. And Diver somehow gets him despite being low. I can't believe that, man.
It's not hard to spot a bald Cypher on your backline. So it was just target practice. But now the aggression from PUX has been amped up. Corsa responds intelligently. PUX finds the second, the third as well, and everything being mowed down. As a valid attempt by PUX to all of a sudden change their play style, but when playing against such a high-tier team like Control Esport, they're bound to expect it.
I think it was a bit of an uncharacteristic play from PUX. They wanted to go really aggressive to switch up tempo and put Control, kind of catch them with their pants down in a way. But not only did they kind of slightly off place where they wanted to go, Diver overshot his satchel was a little bit too high, gave Corsa a bit of an easy angle to track, and on top of that, they didn't really swing together onto Corsa. They tried really hard, but they were a little bit slow and they didn't have the best weaponry, so you can't fully blame them for that. But it's still a slight micro error that led to a big outcome there.
Exactly. You can't have much errors against Control. Again, they're going to turn that small flaw into a large punish. A real large punish. Going to teleport out there. Nice shot, maybe. He got rid of the wolf. There was a quick peek, and Narky really good to react upon it. But in the meanwhile, all is settled. PUX now can remain a bit more quiet around this mid. Return to the playstyle that they wreaked havoc of within this first quarter of a match. But as of the moment, there's not much. There's just calm before the storm.
Yeah, it's very quiet here from PUX. Definitely another massive switch in tempo, and Control almost don't know how to play around this. A little bit of a sand cue from the grav net, so at least they know that Doka's mid. But that could really mean anything. Usually they use it to combine it, so maybe Control can make that read that multiple players will be there. And Nagibu with his operator on that off angle, it's just beautifully jiggled from Foobs. And now the presence of the op is clear, and I think PUX are starting to figure out that the strong side is on the side of B. And they're going through vents.
They're going through vents. Again, switching, testing the waters right now, seeing what could work out. Some of them back off, and it's going to be the Reckoning sent forward by Harbor just to slow down Tower, meaning their backs are covered. There's going to be that barrier mesh for Doka to close things out, but it's all focused towards A once more. They have everything around Heaven covered. The shot from Narky who connects that prior to it to still find an equalization. One player from Control Esport to hold it down by himself. Narky who finds another. Shorty as well onto Diver. He just doesn't stop. Does he find one more? No, Creeper Con finally shuts down this tyranny, but Doka onto Rudy, an annihilation as well to follow as Flank is left alone, and Doka to close things out. PUX Esports will win out the first half.
This round was absolutely bonkers. PUX were throwing fakes after fakes. Foob was doing a clean jiggle, and it looked like PUX were going to try and pincer him from the top. And then they used the Harbor ult to put Control off of their rotates, thinking that they were going to recommit B. And then Nagifu just becomes this menace, absolute menace here, who clears up 3. Operator Shorty close quarters. This guy is a monster, man. But even then, Doka with a well-placed annihilation and clean 1v1 onto the last member was what got PUX the end. This round was crazy. I hope this pace continues in half 2. Because last time this is where PUX suffered, right? The second half. Was it also on defense?
It was.
This is where we have to raise question marks.
The attacking side is where they thrived most. It's also where they found the comeback going into overtime. And unless they can set some standard going into their defense, unless some consistency can be found, it might as well fare to be a better, if not even, or the same, if not even worse result as it was previously. This pistol here is also a good way for Control to kick things off. Again, you get the economy going as per usual. PUX now fully stacked, no, stretched thin. I mean, Control are the one stacked very compact. 2 players in the corner of tower, just waiting for someone to swing. It doesn't happen. There's utility there where the high tide is going to block them from entering. A flash is getting ready from flank, and I'm imagining a swing will happen as well. But Diver's position here might just be a bit dangerous. Doka and Asso are dealing the cards, though. Diver with another! And their PUX Esports, they have crumpled Control down to their last few member. You gotta feel bad for Corsa. How many times has it been in like a 1vx?
That's just how it is when you're that anchor sentinel. Corsa's played a myriad of roles in Epic LAN and in tournaments in general, but he is primarily at the highest level a Sentinel player. He was signed by Formulation Gaming to play for Challengers Northeast, where he was a generally solid asset when he was primarily the Sentinel player. But in Epic LAN in the past, he's played plenty of roles. He's played the scan initiator mostly, but he also played other things. He's played smokes in the past. He's definitely able to play duelist, and he is a solid asset in general, but clearly here, PUX, they're really nailing things down right now, and the stress is starting to get applied for Control. Now with the inferior weaponry, unless Control do something that's fully out of whack and PUX slip up, this is going to be 9 rounds.
For a moment, I saw Narky pull on the Bucky, and I was thinking, the second you mentioned the word whack, he heard you.
The guy with shotguns is a freak. We saw it the round before. We could definitely see it again with the Bucky intact, but I think Narky is going to be a very feast or famine player if he chooses to do that, and I don't think Control are going to be giving that in. This looks like a very soft buy here from Control. It looks like their goal is to do damage. I don't think they plan to win this round.
Do any damage they can. I doubt their plan is to win out the round, but if, like you said, if they can isolate players, wow, it's Diver's just going to shut down Rudy. Right from the smoke, there's more around it, but Flank able to pick up Diver, find an upgrade onto the gun. Now he can take control of this backside, which is going to limit the entries incoming from the side of PUX Esports. In the meanwhile, though, Bobo and Marshall finding Corsa. That's a good eye for an eye 2 deal, rather. Control are down 9, but again, with what they're working with these classics, you can only do so much. Hassel good for the wall bang. A final attempt being made by the 2 Control players, and it all goes deep down. The plant might have been there, so they do get some extra money, but the round is for PUX.
Yeah, it's again a similar deal where PUX are really well playing together here. You have really quick-witted utility coming from so much sources of comfort for PUX, and that's exactly what backed them up with this one. And you can see how much synergy they got, how brotherly they are. These guys have been around for nearly over a year from what I know, maybe even longer. You know, this isn't a young team anymore. They really are experienced. And I think for Control, they made a good idea here. I really don't think this was a bad play. I think the only thing that I would have maybe changed is to focus more on these closer angles and oppress the numbers that you have. Once Control had the site, they almost split up a little bit and didn't abuse the numbers, that advances that they would have had. And on top of that, a just well-positioned play from Foobs, you didn't have anyone cornering up that close area, and you couldn't really put much for a trip unless you had Corsa's tripwire there. That's all you would have. You could have had someone playing stairs to anchor away from Foobs, and the rest play really hard close on the site, but that's not really what they did. They more so just pushed up a little bit more. You had that. So you had the Skydog coming out. You had more angles being a bit more split, fighting long range. Unfortunately, backfired just a little bit left Control. But this is the next round coming in with the bias in. We are going into a bit of a tech pause, as you can see, because our lovely faces are here. What other reason would it be aside from production just loving us that much? But yeah, PUX looking really solid into this, and I think the positive things about this team were exactly what I expected and saw them from the past. Really well synergized, fantastic utility usage, both individually and synergistically, and it is just a brilliant display in general overall from this team. But Control have really made things look good on their side as well. I really don't think Control have made too many mistakes aside from these occasional individual ego players, which makes sense. These guys are cracked. Like, that's just how it is. They've made good attempts at reads, but PUX are really close up there. I love this match so far. I really think it's going to be a close clash. I think once Control manage to get themselves back up economically, they can win this next round on the bonus, and then things start to get very intense.
Yeah, against that previous round, I want to go deeper into the fact that Control pushed out way too deep. Again, like you said, close quarter combat is what they needed to do. You have classics, right clicks are brilliant. You have the Spectre on Diver. Just play around it.
Or just play doubling up, like play numbers. Like instantly abuse those close calls and play together really swiftly.
Don't push deep into the enemy territory alone against a stack of 3 players that are just going to mow you down. It doesn't make sense.
Which was credit to PUX. Like, that is a good way to play together when you know you're in an anti-eco. You're going to win the fight if you swing exactly together. Yeah. And they know that, and that's how they played it as well. Quick-witted utility there from Doka. If there was a slight different position there, that would have been covered instantly.
It would have. And it's this uniqueness from PUX that, again, is so brilliant to see. You don't get to see such nuances in every match. Normally, it's people just, again, oh my goodness, Foob. He's passed on through the smoke screen.
They're going to be throwing out Uto to snuff them out as well. They've got so many members here!
Fantastic. Diver finds Corsa. The Waylay has passed on through, but what does that matter? It finds Narky 1, flank the second again, looking better. You have the heal, the supporting initiator here that is really helpful. But the 3 players from Control that are stacked up around this A push seem to have been discouraged by aggression.
Unfortunately, PUX are just really hoping they can line up the sprays, and it was a bit of a mistake on their positioning. On top of that, a really good saturate there from Narkipu. Quick-witted after spotting so many, but Foobs is here. A lethal shooter gets one that's low onto Rudy, but Spike is down in open here. And they may have to invest some more utility! Foobs!
What?
With just a Marshal in hand! We'll line them up like he's got an intervention. It's magic here from the chamber. You'd think a Marshal is going to be too weak for something like this, and it may be against Drog, but who the hell cares? You got 2 other members behind you, and so PUX reached double digits against Control.
Jaw drop for the moment, but in general, PUX, 5 rounds above Control. They can spare a couple. They've built themselves up such a lifeline lead. And now, Control Esport are in a bit of trouble. I mean, in general, going into this, whatever Control are going to do, right now their economy isn't looking great, but they're going to need to invest something. A force buy, at least so they can fight back against PUX, start dealing a bit of damage, and hopefully pick up the pace in the following rounds. Because I doubt, looking at these 4 Sheriffs and a Bucky, I doubt this is the moment where Control are going to get back in full fashion.
They will have to dial into this. You don't want to give PUX 11 or 12 rounds. Those are usually the rounds that you really get scared of once they hit double digits. With only 5 rounds in the bank, they need to make something happen. They've gone for a bit of a haphazard buy here. Narkipu with an attempt to get in and get out. And almost a mosquito bite of death here with the Bucky, but it won't work out.
Rudy's still looking to contest, but PUX have learned a lesson. They don't want to play against Control in their best moments. And now, the full 5 stack. They're rising up around our 4. We still have the Viper setting up towards Garage, but the rest of them are just getting as much ground, as much control, and hopefully as much contestants from the side. Oh, Doka finds Narky. How the hell did that happen? Diver's still sending utility to gather information and push the rest of the stack back, but Corsa has advanced further into vents and could get a potentially groundbreaking split into the A side for the rest of the team to charge on after.
This is a terrifying position that Corsa's in right now. He's got a lot of info for Control. He knows that there's not somebody in. He can hear potential rotation from Diver. Diver might have snuffed it out! How has he seen that? My God! Unless there was something I missed on the mini-map, Diver just made a clean read on this lurk from Corsa. And suddenly it's backfired horribly. Rudy's down. It's just now Drogs and the flank now on his own. And what more can you do? You're against 4 members on an eco. You almost had it there. But PUX just reading like a book. They'll cleanly get to 11 with not a lot of losses at all here.
Wow. Well, Control, that was, again,
that was just unlucky for Narkipu. I feel for the guy, man.
And Corsa as well. I don't know how the hell Diver just... I guess it's quarter checking 101 for him. Every single quarter he surpasses, he's going to make sure it's clear, which is fair to him and fair to the side of Control Esport. Their buy wasn't good. But right now, if they want to deny this match point, out of the following 6 rounds, they need to claim every single one. 7 to reach match point first as well. But aside from that, this is going to be a real rough battle considering what PUX have. Not only have they gotten the consistency going for themselves, but a showstopper as well.
Oh, there's a deep position for Narkipu. I think Foob's in a bit of an uncomfortable position here. He can only really spam quick. He can't afford to play this close, and so Diver has to nick the 1v1 to close the space out, and it works beautifully for PUX. Showstopper invested, throwing a little haphazardly, but it doesn't mean much. A lot of damage onto flank, numbers high. They're going to have the double swing here, and Foobs just picks up a Vandal and takes care of Rudy like he's just a little mosquito on the map. Now again, slower paces from Corsa, but he will fall as Control are collapsing here. This might be it.
This might be it.
I can't believe I'm watching this right now.
There were 2 battles happening at once on this map. There was the main battle around A, but there was a mid battle as well. 2 players from the side of Control pushed up, and they met Doka. The result was not great. The result was not great. Doka claimed them both, and everything that PUX have been setting up towards didn't work. What was an attempted distraction around this A ramp side, so the majority of the assets of PX would be set aside towards there. Control wanted to use that distraction to sneak into vents and find a way to kind of creep in from the back lines, but by this point, the round's already over. It matters not. Flank is in a 1v5, low on HP, and just a victim for Doka to claim, as it is match point for PUX. Ever since that half, they have been flawless.
This is maddening here. Did we expect this outcome?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Did we maybe expect PUX to bring back their form and make this close? Absolutely. We've seen this team a lot. We're very familiar with them. We know how good really they are. Did we expect this to happen?
No.
12-5 against Control, who are quite literally like the top 2 favorites in this entire event? Absolutely not. And granted, this is a BO1, but Split is clearly a map comfortable for both sides if they left this open for BO1. PUX have just played with their food, and Diver is dunking on some of the best players in this event ever.
He's going to send himself forward. We have the dock to support him. The amount of utility from Sky will allow Rudy to get CreeperCon, but elsewhere, Foob, good on the pop shot, finds Strockstar. Now that's going to be your Viper off the board, so limiting out that vision. Dangerous here for Foob. He snuck up on information. There's also that drone coming from the tail, but Flank getting dangerously close. The rest of PUX will be just pulling themselves up in a humble spot. They're not going to look to contest it, play it safe, and allow Control to gain this ground if they want.
Good spot, good support from PUX to use that utility to stall and enable Foob to take a reposition from this operator. It's oppressive, and it's going to be paying off so well. They know Rudy's confirmed power can hear Nakipu steps, but Nakipu's quicker on the draw. Gets his one. Nakipu! What on earth was that? In the blink of an eye, he's just wiped PUX off the map.
I'll be honest. This hands on my life and your Shiba as well.
What was that?
I did not even realize what happened until 2 seconds after. I was blankly watching this. How? To be honest, if anyone were to do it, Nakipu's the man.
I am praying that Nakipu has clipped that on his own PC. I need to go see that. I need to watch that clip. I may have not seen the full thing, but that is an Amos clip transfer. Put this guy onto Koik. Like, this is insane.
If this is how they come back, Nakipu might be making history at Epic Land. Right now, Control may be off of a single player, but what he's allowed for the rest of the team is not only survivability, but 4 players on ults. All but that Viper split, but even then not needed. Asso almost caught off guard there. His life barely being kept for the moment, while the rest of PUX are now being contested in their own site. Rudy finds Doka. That's going to be the classic on the kill feed. The rest of PUX have been pushed back to their beginnings. They're very spawn as they just can't find a way to break through the site until CreeperCon has a say. Takes out Corsa. It's a good 1-for-1, but it is post-plant. We have that ultimate, the large wave incoming. A shorty attempted. Rudy has the bigger gun though, a larger shotgun that claims victory. Diver onto Nakipu to not allow him to get away with another, whatever that was in the previous round, but it might be the end. PUX are setting standards straight. They only have 1 more to clear. It's Flank with a Bulldog, injured maybe, but he still finds the clutch! No way! Flank, you are a monster!
No way! What is happening here, man? Back-to-back aces, back-to-back hero clutches. This map is insanity. Control refuse to let PUX, as you said, they don't let them dare set the standard. They are the standard, and they're keeping it that way. At least for now, you still got 5 rounds to win. Jesus Christ. Good Lord, man.
We thought it was over. Hell no. Control, there's a reason they're considered one of the top dogs.
He was so low. He was like 30
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Flank is just built different. And going into this next round, they have 4 ults again. Foob is going to let one pass on by just so he takes out Drop. Diver gets returned for it. And now we have the bald cipher, meaning information is going to be revealed. 4 players. This isn't it. It's not going to be an A push.
In spite of all this, PUX refused to be discouraged here.
The rotation has been made on through. This is going to be an open B site.
This is a very cerebral play coming through from Control. They're fully committing to this fake on the rotation. They're acting fast, but so are PUX. Harry thrown down. Grant is not up yet, and they're running for this, but Corsa has been left open here. Look at this Foods, expecting something to come through with the ping coming out. Convergent paths for them to stall the time. Finally, the plant's coming down, but this is late plant coming through here from Control. they've taken a while to do this, and already PUX are here. No ultimates at the disposal, but they very much could do so. The throw coming out from Creepercon, he's going to have to play short soon, and so flank is down, but the rest of Control respond. PUX back, it's up to Nagipu again, and this time he falls. Control, the top favorites of this event, will fall to the new faces in PUX. Known familiar foes of power in the past, but now EPIC is their next adversary. And Control, the top dogs, are now fall down to this team. It is absolute cinema. I love seeing this outcome. PUX have taken down one of the favorites.
Yes, the Outliers. The Outliers, ones that have completely turned around what is supposed to be the split meta. What you're supposed to pick everyone again. Everyone's so like, oh yeah, we have to go this agent, because they're best. No, they don't care. They don't care. They have their own mindset.
And the fact that they're so confident going into these different comps and agents at such a good level with so much pressure applied to them, so much meta. Honestly, I'm sure so much prep as well.
Yes.
So much practice. And it comes with having such creative minds on your team. Creepercon is the big guy. He is the energy, he is the inspiration behind this team being so unique and creative. It is so fun to watch, and I think PUX, they've set an example now, and they are a team to fear. They may be a little wishy-washy in form at the moment, but they haven't fallen just yet. They've taken down Control, who are one of the biggest favorites, and now PUX are looking to take a piece of that cake and maybe even make it up there themselves. Surely playoffs is secure for this team if they can take a team like Control down.
If they can take a team like Control down, they might be even in the grand finals. It's not out of the range of possibilities, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing them there because, like we've said, we love PUX. We love their playstyle. We love the Harbor. We love everything they stand for, and, well,
you can't help but be so happy for this team.
So nice.
Considering we've casted them like nearly a year ago now, it's such a long time since we've seen this team play. We were always a big fan of them. Suddenly seeing the surprise on EPIC, it's amazing. And they're against Control. We were thinking like, oh, Control got this, right?
Yeah,
like,
easy stuff.
PUX are great, but they did go in OT against Sensational, which aren't nearly as a level as high as Control. And even then, PUX somehow bring out this win in not even that close of a fashion. Control only really managed to bring back those rounds through some obscene hero plays, macro-wise, and in terms of the general read of the game, PUX had it in the palm of their hands. Split was a beautiful display, and I really hope we get to see more of PUX in this tournament.
We hope to see them. We're probably going to chase them down right now after this is over. We are chasing them down.
Yeah. I need to see that Nagipu clip.
Yeah, definitely. That was crazy.
That was insane.
He also got that collateral earlier through Zurich. Yeah. That was oh my god, I still can't comprehend it.
Maddening.
Whatever the case, we're not going to keep you hostage for now. We're going to go and fanboy live. In the meanwhile, though, we hope you have a great break. We're going to be back with the next match shortly, so stay tuned.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.